So in this segment, we will discuss some further parts of speech. We've already discussed about the noun. We've discussed about the verb. We know that the verbs can be one of three types. We know a noun will identify a person, place, or thing. But also what we have is we have the pronoun. So we use pronouns to replace the noun once the noun has been identified. So for example, we could say that James met Jerry. So here we have a noun, and here we have a noun. This is our noun subject. This is our noun object. So when we use our pronouns, we can use the pronouns to substitute for those nouns, but it also, in many cases, makes a difference as to whether we're substituting a noun pronoun, a subject pronoun, or whether we're substituting an object pronoun. So in this case, instead of James, since this is the subject, we could say he. And instead of Jerry, since this is the object, we would say him. So the pronouns may be different depending upon how is the noun used in the sentence. We could say Sally does many tasks for the company. So once again, here's our verb. That's what Sally does. So Sally is a noun, tasks is a noun, and company is a noun. So instead of using these nouns, we could substitute them with a pronoun now that the noun has been identified. So in this case, since Sally is the subject, we'll say she. If Sally were the object over here, we would say her. And then tasks, since this is plural, we'll say them, and we'll take off this one. So Sally does many. Sally does them for the company. Since company is singular, we'll say it. And then we won't use the. So she does them for it. So depending upon where it is in the sentence, since this is our subject, since this is our object, and then this is the object of the preposition. Which brings us up another part of speech is the preposition. So prepositions are little words like this that we use to create phrases that tell us about the places or the times or the situations where things happen. We have a whole list of prepositions that we can look up, and that will be provided in the course materials. But you can just think about a preposition kind of describes anywhere that a mouse can go. So it can go in, out, to, from, it can go with, it can go by, it can go under, it can go around, it can go through. All the words like this, we have the prepositions, so we use the prepositions to show the location or the time or the situation of some kind of action or other information in the sentence. Now one thing with these prepositions, anytime we have a preposition, it needs to be followed by an object. So in the room, with my brother, out the window, to the store, from the mall, by the river, under the table, around the tree, through the window, things like that. So we use these prepositions there, we use those for expressing the time or the place or situation where things occurred. Now also, we have adjectives. So we use adjectives in order to modify or describe. So we use these to modify or describe a noun, or sometimes in some cases a pronoun. So for example, we could say, just imagine in your mind, imagine a building. So imagine the building, and so you may have a picture in your mind now of a building. That's a noun. Now I can say a tall building. Did that modify or did that change your picture that you had there? By using an adjective such as tall, that will change the picture. Or I could say an old building. Now, did that change your picture? Did that change the image that you had? Or I could say a red building. So we use these adjectives to modify and help to make our understanding and description of the noun much clearer. And usually these adjectives are just one word and they'll come before the noun. So we'll have maybe the, and then we'll have an adjective, and then we'll have a noun, and this adjective is describing the noun that follows it. So if I say a sandwich store, then store is the noun, and sandwich is an adjective that tells us what kind of store it is. So many of the words that we use for nouns can also serve as adjectives too, if they're describing something that follows after them. So the sequencing and the order is very important. We also have adverbs. And once again, what adverbs do is they describe or modify a verb. So any one of these kinds of verbs, we can use that to describe or modify. So let's do another example. So for example, imagine, here's a nice action verb, imagine the teacher is dancing. Okay, can you see the picture of the teacher is dancing? And now I can say, imagine that the teacher is dancing awkwardly. Did that change your picture? Probably not. How about if I try it this way? The teacher is dancing gracefully. Did that change your picture? Yeah, probably so. The teacher is dancing slowly. The teacher is dancing expertly. The teacher is dancing smoothly. So usually what we have when we have the adverbs is we'll have the verb, and then we'll have the adverb that follows it. So we have the verb, and then the adverb afterward tells us something about that. So dancing slowly. Slowly tells us, describes something about the action that just occurred. Or dancing fast. Fast tells us something about how the dancing occurred. Or eating. Eating noisily. That tells us something about the style of the eating. Eating slowly. That tells us something about that. So the adverbs, in most cases, the adverbs are going to come after the verb. The adjectives are going to come before the noun. So placement many times is quite important. Now here, what we have here is, for the company, this is a prepositional phrase, but it also serves as an adjective, because it tells us what kinds of tasks she does. So while if we just have a one-word adjective, it will come before the noun. But sometimes we have these phrases that serve as adjectives that happen and tell us after the noun. So these will come after the noun to describe what kinds of task it is. So this prepositional phrase serves as an adjective. Now if I said, Sally does many tasks for the company in the afternoon, again, this is a prepositional phrase, but it tells us the time that she does these actions. So in this case, this would be an adverb. So we use these prepositional phrases. We use these prepositional phrases in our sentences as extended or complex adjectives and adverbs to tell us things about, describe something about one of the nouns that's in the other part of the sentence, or many times the verb that's going on in the sentence. So most commonly, we just use a one-word adjective that will come before the noun. But if we're going to use a more complex adjective, this will become after the noun, and then it refers back to the noun that it follows. these adverbs, because there's only one verb in the sentence, these adverbs can move around. So this could have been put over here. And I could have said, in the afternoon, Sally does many tasks. It would still be an adverb that tells us when she does this. I'm sorry that this is so complex, but I don't make the rules. I just follow them. Thank you.